Right, welcome back everyone, and I hope the sound issues with the previous episodes have now been rectified. I have done a little short clip, a test clip, uploaded that to YouTube, but it appears that YouTube is normalizing along a flat scale. In other words, it's just reducing the volume of a clip's audio rather than actually doing it dynamically. So you've got really loud sounds coming down by a certain percentage, 50%, but it's reducing the entire clip by a certain percentage, which was making my voice almost unhearable, almost sort of where you couldn't actually hear it. Well, all that really does, it doesn't really fix the problem, does it? I mean, for me, it doesn't fix the problem of loud audio, because all people have to do, they've got to turn the volume up to compensate. So it doesn't really normalise anything. Normalising is where you dynamically bring down the loud sounds and any low sounds are brought up to the same level. So you harmonise it, you bring it to maybe, let's say your clip is 10 decibels and you have a peak of 20 decibels, but most of it is only at 10 decibels, and sometimes it goes down to 5. The 5 should come up to the 10 and the 20 should come down to 10. So it harmonises it. But for some reason YouTube aren't doing that. They're bringing the whole clip down by the same level of volume that the loudest part is. So, I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing. And also, it would be nice if they sort of announce things before I start doing them. Because I could have downloaded my clips and done them myself. Right now, if I do it now, it makes no difference. I can't re-engineer those clips now because they've ruined them. Alright, so anyway. Hopefully you can hear me. I'll select some feedback on the sound and everything else, if you would please. So if you'd like to put a comment in the comment section down the end of the video, then that would help me a lot. If you notice some things are slightly out of bounds still, hopefully it's fine though. Hopefully it's fine. Alright, so one other update, apart from the sound, which is completely irrelevant to the playthrough really, is that I have gone and found a set of patches by someone on the Kerbal Space Program forums, and it involves the USI and Realism Overhaul ISRUs. Basically, the USI ISRUs, the drills and the processing units, won't actually work within the real solar system. So what I've done, I've gone and found someone who actually has a GitHub repository with a set of config files which allowed them to work. Now I've had to go in and manually edit some of them. Some of them weren't working. There was throwing up exceptions. So that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days, as well as sorting my sound out. So I'm going to go into the tech tree just for a quick look. So now we have, in the starting section, we have a tank of solid material. So that's for solid, that's for things like, well, we'll show you very quickly. Gypsum, colony supplies, chemicals, dirt, minerals, fertilizer, hydrates, things like that. Also, something else apart from the these things. These now no longer churn out liquid fuel and oxidizer. The channel MMH and NT. I've had to modify this 1.25 meter one because it wasn't working. So I've had to edit this myself. The other two here were already working properly. So hopefully ISRUs are actually working. There we go. MMH and NT. Unfortunately, you can only churn out, you can only sort of produce MMH and NTO. So if you're going to use fuel off world, it better be that, or but what I'm going to try and enter another config file there, so it'll produce something else as well. Shouldn't be too difficult to do, but I thought just for starters, just to start sort of cleaning these up, making them sort of compatible. And this one, also agriculture, the config pack that I found. Also, I'll put the a link to the GitHub repository, so I'll give credit to the individual who made the configs, but they're only based on the configs. I've actually had to go into each part and edit them myself by hand because they wouldn't actually work through the config patches. We have nuclear reactors. something I've noticed is that most of the reactors in the game itself, which are Realism Overhaul compatible, they have more than 1 year. I think the smallest one is this one, and you can see it's got 6-year lifespan. Whereas the Umber, the USI, they only have a 1 year lifespan. 30,000 versus 19,000. 60 electric charge versus 100. It's only about 40%. Well, it's not even that, is it? It's about 30-40% more overall. Again, 1 year. It seems to be like a recurring thing with USI's reactors, is that they only last for 1 year, 274 days, 10 hours and 50 minutes. It's a little bit, you know, it's very precise. Well, these are 6 year, 246 days, 15 hours and 31 minutes, so that's a lot longer. But obviously, you could have like 2 of these. 120. 1.2 tons. But it's only 797.5 kilos. But anyway, I'm going through each of the config files. Find things that don't quite match up, such as nuclear propulsion. We have nuclear propulsion, nuclear rockets. There we go. So this is a Nerva. This was working perfectly alright. It uses liquid hydrogen and enriched uranium. It's a single mode. What I can tell, yeah, it's a single mode. One of I noticed there was a tri-modal or dual mode rocket, and it's supposed to use liquid oxygen, but it was using oxidizer, so I've redone that as well. So apart from sorting the sound out, there's another one that I've missed. The Nova atomic rocket, liquid fuel. That's an example, but it's not RO. I can make it compatible with RO. It's real fuels already, supposedly. Yeah, real fuels right there. So that has been balanced. So the power to weight ratio, as in vacuum at sea level, ISP in kilonewton power, the thrust, and the ullage has all been sorted. It's just the fact it's using the wrong propellant. So obviously that's something that the config file must have missed. So that's something that's been done. I've been doing other things through here. Hydrolocks, fusion rockets. Don't have any others. Yeah, this is one I've actually sorted out. So it's using liquid oxygen in one of the modes. The next one is hybrid, which is Triton. Then it uses liquid oxygen instead of oxidizer. There's tri-modal one here, which wasn't using the correct ingredients, as correct fuels, correct propellant. So it's using liquid hydrogen up here. The next mode is an augmented mode, which uses an oxidizer to increase the power. Liquid hydrogen, and it was using oxidizer, so I changed to using liquid oxygen. So that's fine now. That's okay. That should be fine. I'll sort a number of the other ones out as well. So I'll use liquid hydrogen. Curious thing that they all seem to have real fuel patches, because that's so the catch-all, as it's called, the catch-all config is working for these engines, these parts. But every so often they'll miss, and this one was missed as well. The second mode, again, the sort of augmented mode, was using once again oxidizer, so I've changed to liquid oxygen as well. So I'm just going through things. Also the farms, where is it? The agricultural units. We're using fresh water as well as wastewater, and it was also dishing out clean water. Well, greenhouses don't do that. So what I've done to start off, carbon dioxide, which is okay, wastewater, I've taken out the fresh water it was using. So it's using wastewater as well as fresh water. Nutrients, I'm going to change nutrients to fertilizer. Well, I may use it just to waste. I may just take nutrients out and leave it as waste, because waste is basically solid waste, and wastewater is obviously waste water. which you can use in a greenhouse. So you wouldn't need nutrients added in, especially not 0.3 compared to the waste of 0.14. Oxygen is fine. It was actually changing out, as I said, it was actually dishing out one of the outputs was fresh water, so I've changed that to oxygen and just filled to match what the USI config files that I downloaded from the GitHub repository I was talking about. I really should give credit to the individual, which I will do in the actual description section of the video. Unfortunately, I can't remember what the name is. I think it's Magnus43. I may be completely wrong because I've been looking at so many different forum pages and so many different GitHub repositories for ISRUs that I could possibly try and base my own configs on to get them working with Realism Overhaul. But I believe it's Magnus43. Something very similar to Magnus43. But as I said, I will give credit to the individual and give a little description there and their name and a link to the GitHub repository. So I've done these. So these basically match what the USI configs have done to their parts. Alright, so that's enough of that, I think. Okay, so back outside, Cape Canaveral. And we have Luna 11 and Luna 12. Now, Luna 12 has its own solar panels, so it can regenerate its own electric charge, it can charge its own batteries up, so we can leave that alone for now. But Luna 11 has not, so I'm going to have to decouple that from its stage behind it, as in the spacecraft, from its last booster stage, its TLI, its translucent injection stage, before it runs out of power, because otherwise it'll just sap all the power out of the spacecraft itself. So we've got 3 days, 5 hours, 22 minutes before Luna 11 is in the sphere of influence of the moon. We've got 3 days, 21 hours and 34 minutes before Luna 12 is in the sphere of influence of the moon. So we've got a few hours ahead, so we can hopefully put Luna 11 in orbit around the moon before Luna 12 even reaches the sphere of influence of the moon. Alright, so I'm going to head to Luna 11 to the tracking station. It'll be 3 days, 5 hours, 21 minutes, and we're going to stay with that for this episode. Okay, let's head to the tracking station. Alright, so in the tracking station we have Luna 12 Pro, obviously that's the previous stage. We have the IMV as well. Now these Venus 1 missions are basically just feelers that are sent out. Very similar to the Explorer missions in our universe. So let's carry on sending IMVs out, interplanetary missions, to the Venus area of orbital area, so that it's on its sort of general track of its orbit. That'll reach its opposite side of its orbit 142 more days. And obviously that has absolutely none. That's on an escape trajectory out of the sun, apparently. Don't think it is. Alright, never mind. We'll sort that out later. Alright, so we've got the Ion satellite mission, which is also hopefully going to be able to be bouncing signals off Luna 12 if Luna 12 gets onto the surface. Otherwise Luna 12 will just be sit there until its 50,000 electric charges run out, unfortunately. Alright, so as we can see, we have Luna 11 there highlighted. Its pre-axis is just over 3,000 kilometers. Alright, so let's go ahead and join Luna 11. Luna 11. Hopefully its electric charge hasn't been sapped too far, but it's always a danger if you leave it too long. That avionics package directly behind the spacecraft on the TLI, in control of the TLI, can have sapped the electric charge. It's quite greedy on electric charge, those avionics packages right now. Okay, let's head to Luna 11. Okay, so back at Luna 11. I'm about to decouple. Let's decouple in 3, 2, 1. Alright. I've no idea what we're supposed to do with the camera. That is annoying. I wish they'd sort these camera modes out. Alright, because the core was turned off. Didn't use a great deal of electric charge, it still isn't. So I'm going to leave it dormant for now. Check this RCS. Yeah, I must start remembering to add these to an action group menu. Action group, I should say. They've only got so many hours as well. So we don't need them just yet. So I'm going to turn these all off. If it actually lets me. Right. Now, do I have anything to send back? No, probably not. You can see how much. I mean, I've got 0.69 delay, almost 0.7 of a second delay. And we have about halfway. So I'm going to stay with this, as I said. So this is going to be Luna XI's episode. For some reason, the Cosmos 186 and 188 have identified both Luna XI and one of the orbiting ComSats as their targets for some reason. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Should be okay though. Alright, so 3049.579 kilometers. Alright, zoom forward. Zoom forward? Let's walk forward about 3 days, 5 hours and 3 minutes. Just before we reach the sphere of influence, it should slow down in order to alert me. Well, the alarm clock goes off. Okay. Alright, so that's the alarm going off. Time to pay attention to Ions Luna XI. New and sphere of influence change old from Earth to new moon. Excellent. No, I don't want focus view. So I think on that, with that window, you can actually click right through it. So a few of the mod windows like that. Right, so SOE in about 8. See, that's the yeah, that's the stage I brought us here. 5 minutes. So we've got 5 minutes before we into the sphere of influence of the moon. You can see the way Luna 12, because I pushed it along laterally that way. I also launched too late. I should really have launched a day later. That would have given me full 24 hours to spend with Luna 11 if I had to switch over to Luna 12. But it turned out okay. I hope. Right, so another 5 minutes. Okay, so inside the sphere of influence of the moon. Here we have 1 day 17 hours as a flyby before I actually exit. So we won't be exiting, so I hope not. So we've got 20 hours. So even when Luna 12 enters SOE of the moon, we won't need to switch to it. Because it'll take it several hours to get to where it needs to be as well. Alright, so we've got 20 more hours. Okay, so Luna 12 is now about to enter. It's about 5 minutes away. If it's the same, yeah, we'll still give it 5 minutes lead time. Each of those alarms. So it's got 5 minutes. Before Luna 12 enters SOE as well, so I have to keep an eye on that. So I'm going to target Luna 12, so I'll keep an eye on its SOE. It won't actually tell me how long it's got. But we have 4 more hours and 29 minutes, so about 4.5 hours before Luna 11 is in position anyway, to start the orbit burn. So another 4.5 hours. Now, I hope Luna 12 doesn't impact before I get this into orbit, because that will be a major disaster. So I may have to take a look at Luna 12 a little bit more closely. Alright, so I'm going to program. So I've got 858 meters per second over 3 minutes 41.8 second burn. Alright, so as close as I can get it. I shall add the manoeuvre in. That's a bit awkward. Oh, plenty Delta of 8642. So that's probably that's a secret. Getting as low as you possibly can until you actually want to be. With the actual booster stage of TLI. And then it doesn't take anything like as much energy. And that is equatorial, that is perfect. It's just a shame I didn't fit solar panels onto this, because if I had fitted solar panels onto it, I could have probably left this in orbit, which I will do anyway, but so I could have left it in orbit and it could have bounced signals off whatever future missions I send to the moon. But unfortunately I didn't do that. Right, so we've got... I'm going to put it down to about 4. I'm going to do it about 40... Yeah, 40 minutes. It took me a while to actually sort this out. No, not so far though. So 40-minute burn. 40-minute burn, I wish. 40-minute delay. Target is Luna 12. Target should not be Luna 12 anymore. So we'll take that off there just for now. So I don't want that. Being the target. Right, so what do we have? We have 575.9 meters per second on the burn. So we don't have any throttle, but if you don't put throttle on, as I've said before, you don't get any power at all. Now, are the RCS live on here? I bet they're not. No. Well, that's fine, we can delay that as well. Keep looking down there, the wrong part. Alright, so they're all live. I'll give them about 10-15 seconds before I make the RCS go live. So we'll go to the node. So about 30 seconds I'll give them, just in case we have a problem. Okay, RSS is enabled. Few seconds. 3, 2, 1. Go to the node, give that a good few seconds. Because it may be completely opposite direction. So I usually give it out 60 seconds. And I've probably forgotten something very vital. Yes, I have, haven't I? Although you don't actually need them to be live for some reason, very strange reasons. I'll leave it a 40-minute delay just for now. I'll put 0 back in it. I'm talking about the course. For some reason you don't need the course to be live when you do manoeuvres, but for me, you've got to turn the car on. So that's part of my home rules now. My house rules, I should say. Alright, give it another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6. Once you activate the engine doesn't mean you're going to turn the engine on, the throttle. So another 10, 15, I'll give it another 30 seconds and I'll click burn. So that shows 39, 30, I'll click burn. Four, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it's burned for 575.9 meters per second. That'll take it a number of minutes, so it's good that I've sort of done it a little bit earlier than the node. Yeah. So I shall turn these cores on. Although I only need one core, I believe. I'm hoping it's not, oh, it might be too heavy, I suppose. There we go, yeah, so both cores are needed to unlock it. Phew, I was thinking maybe it was too heavy. Alright, so we've got about 44 minutes. Now I really do need to go and check on Gemini 9 here because they'll be well past the 4-day for the split altitude record and it won't actually show you here. Ah. Orbit's complete, you may alter your orbit now. Alright, so it has actually complete, but it's also recognising the fact... Oh, I wonder if it's locked onto one of the Luna. That's a strange thing, like, it doesn't seem to be locking onto the right craft every time. But never mind. These things are sent to be fixed. That's why they're sent to us. Alright, so I've got 40 more minutes, 36 minutes actually before we go and move to the node and then we'll burn. Okay, and the good thing about the flight computer and Kerbal alarm clock is the fact that they will de-throttle, they will throttle down warp. So you can't miss your burns. Okay, so there we go. Luna XII is still a long way away. So that's worked out pretty well. Right, about 35 seconds. Enter orbit, start the scan. About 26 seconds. It's the 20th of July 1958. It's just past 8 PM GMT. That's a nice looking moon now. Since we upgraded the textures. Several, well, a lot of episodes back actually now. It's about 1 minute 50 seconds before the burn actually begins. But like I said, you've got to give it plenty of time to get, but it would appear that we're almost on the maneuver node anyway. Just we're almost pointing in the right direction, so, but you don't know. So it's best if you give yourself at least 60 seconds or even longer. Give it as long as you possibly can for the actual craft to get onto the node. Because sometimes it can be... Well, see, it depends on the mass of the craft as well and what it takes to get to the node. But so obviously a larger mass requires longer or more powerful RCS. You can sort of do both, I suppose. So I've got 15,000 electric charge just over. Something I do require checking is to make sure. Yeah, that's fine. I was just making sure it wasn't locked. Because I have a habit of locking tanks for some reason. So why is it not in position? Why is it not in position? Because I didn't actually activate the RCS. So that's another mistake I just made. Pretty sure I hit... Oh, of course I hit the RCS before I activated the cores. There we go. So you can't activate or deactivate RCS without the cores being active. Or at least having mass control. Alright, here we go then. A few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it hasn't failed. So that's a 2 minutes and 45 second burn remaining. It looks like I may have started the burn substantially early. But I am past the apoapsis. Oh, I'm at the periapsis, aren't I? So 8 minutes of the periapsis. So we're 4 minutes to the node, or 8 minutes. Never mind. It should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. It'll be fine. Honest. $19,000, $18,000, $17,000. Coming down nicely. $230 remaining. Up to 10 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers, 190 meters per second remaining. Got 130 remaining. 100 meters per second remaining. We're very early though. 2 minutes, well, almost 3 minutes ahead now. It's quite hard to gauge though. Do we interject? Do we intervene? No, I might not need... No, I don't need to. Oh, that's perfect. That is almost perfect. Okay, RCS is off. Get rid of the manoeuvre node. So you can see the delay there, 1.27. So it's just over 1.25 second delay. What happened there? Okay, so on the grey line is obviously the TLI, which we separated from. Okay, so that's where we are now. We are now in orbit of the moon. Do I need that again? Possibly. Yeah, let's go radial in, don't I? Obviously. Use low power. Okay. So I'll switch to stable. Alright, let's begin the Luna XI primary mission. Before I do though, let's shut these cores down. Don't want them running. So we've got no more signs. So I will do an extra scan for signs though. Something I should have done. Okay, so we'll do an extra scan. We'll do the extra scan first. Do I get anything else? No, got to recover it. 7.5 signs. So that's obviously for a future mission. Coming back from the moon. Alright, start the contract. $18 and 50 seconds. We can stay with this for now. 10 yes, yes, there's no need leaving it on. Can't turn it off, can I? No, of course you can't, because you've got the course turned off, silly. Never mind. Look at that. Some nice detail now. Looks really nice. Alright, so 18 more minutes and then we can end this mission. Well, the primary mission. Obviously Luna XI will remain in orbit around the moon to bounce signals, not just off Luna XII, if it manages to get onto the surface. If. Optimistic, but not too optimistic, because those airbags seem to fail more often than they didn't. They seem to protect themselves okay, but they detach themselves from the probe core while testing. So you got to get it down to not much faster as far as the impact's concerned than you would sort of expect landing gear to survive. Landing gear will probably snap off at the same speed as well, so well it would do. 100 meters per second. There's no way landing gear is going to last through anything like that. An impact of that strength, that magnitude, it'd tear anything apart. So it all depends if I can get Luna XII down in velocity fast enough and sort of late enough as well, because if you leave it and you leave enough fuel in there, you could be going too fast to decelerate quickly enough. If you leave it too, as in you use up all your fuel too high up, too high in altitude, you'll accelerate towards the moon on its own gravity. It may only be 1/6 Earth's gravity, but it will still accelerate you if you give it long enough. Just not quite as bad as on Earth. So hopefully those tests aren't, as I said, they're not fair. To test an airbag as a landing system under Earth's gravity, it's just not fair. It's only going to have to withstand 1/6. Well, we'll find out. So it's 60 minutes and 50 seconds. Alright, so that's the prime mission of Luna XI done. Yeah, 82 minutes, 45,000 funds, 5 signs and 12 reputation. And that's the overall. 331,250, 16 more signs and 15 reputation. So we now have Luna X mission. It's going to transmit signs from space around the moon to complete the first, supposedly, the first lunar orbit. We've actually managed to achieve lunar orbit before that was actually offered. So that was a bit weird. So we're well ahead of schedule. Alright, so let's see if we've got any extra. Can we get any extra? But can we actually get some extra by going lower? Let's see. Activate avionics. Let's fit both of them, or does it have mass control? And that's interesting, even though the tank's only got about a third fuel left, it still does have enough control with just one car. And we have no... It's interesting. Right, it's got some retro. Don't waste all the fuel. Got 257 or so. No, we haven't got 256 now. The hydrogen is being used by the RCS. So we've got 3,358 at the apoapsis. Where are we? 5 hours to the apoapsis. So we're somewhere between the apoapsis, but so we're closer to the periapsis than the apoapsis. So I don't want to go too low because that will make this completely useless when it comes to bouncing the signal off the surface. Let's use an MPU. Okay, main propulsion unit. Oh, yeah, it's bringing the periapsis down as well, isn't it? And the periapsis down faster than the apoapsis. $1,500, and that's it. So as low as it's going to periapsis. That's curious, that though. I mean, we're still 6 hours away from the apoapsis, so it should really be dragging the periapsis down. The apoapsis down, I should say. But of course we're after the periapsis, so we're between the periapsis and the apoapsis, not between the apoapsis and the periapsis. Because the other way around would be dragging the periapsis down faster, I suppose. Alright. No, I don't think we're going to get anything else extra. Just deactivate the engine. Turn the RSS off. Go on until we come down to the periapsis again. I've got plenty of electric charge, I can see that. Need to turn these off. Turn that off. No. Well, so I can't just sort of transmit empty signs, but that's not really the point, is it? Okay, let's see if we can find some signs to send back. We're almost at the periapsis. We just came back into transmission range as well, the line of sight I should say. No, still nothing. So at the lowest point and the highest point of our orbit. Ah well, never mind. Do I have anything at all? No. Let's just send back some empty signs. It's not quite right, not the right thing to actually do, but never mind. Okay, congratulations, Luna X was the first spacecraft to go into orbit around the moon. That's in our universe, not this one. So, and the first human-made object to orbit any body beyond the Earth. The primary objectives were to achieve the first lunar orbit, gain experience in orbital operations, presumed as a precursor to astronaut orbital missions, and study the lunar environment. It wouldn't be astronaut, it'd be cosmonaut. It'd be cosmonaut missions. Never mind. The launch was timed so that the spacecraft would come around on its first orbit just as the 23rd Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union was convening for its morning session. 637,100 funds, 5 science and 12 reputations. Well, that's welcome. That's nice. Alright, so this will stay in orbit for as long as it possibly can, powered. Still got 15,000. So that's not bad, but obviously when we leave this, the cores will be switched back on again. Which is the only thing about using background processing, but it's more realistic than having them not use any power at all. But still, I should still, even without power, they should still act as a relay for any signals. Alright, so that's the end of this mission. So that's Luna XI's primary mission done. We'll disable these. I just guess I'll need them again. See, we can't click on all of them at once. So I'll deactivate those. The core's already switched off. Never did that. Can I turn it off or not? Oh, thank you. Okay, so that's inactive now. That's in the hibernate mode. Okay, let's head back to Cape Canaveral. It's a nice circular, well, it was a nice circular orbit before I tried finding some science. But never mind, it's on the dark side. Alright, let's head back to Cape Canaveral. So that's Luna XI finished. Okay, so back at Cape Canaveral. That is the end of Luna XI's primary mission. It will stay in orbit, as I said. Even if it runs out of power, it will still be able to bounce signals off itself from Luna XII or anything else in lunar orbit or trying to sort of land on the surface. So I've got 4.113 million back in the bank. I've done some part tests and some engine firings and a couple of commercial launches as well, which I haven't recorded. I'm not bothering with those. Unless they do something special like returning the first capsule with some science on board, that will definitely record those. So I've got 202.7 science. What have we got here? We've still got 10 days before airline hydrolox engines are finished. After I've got advanced jet engines, I've already explained that before in the previous episode. Prototype space planes, another 74 days after advanced jet engines, which is another 30 days on top of the 10 days we've got left for airline hydrolox engines. Take a breath. I've got nothing being built right now. I've got nothing else being planned. Alright, so what I did make a mistake of at the beginning is when I went to the tracking station instead of IMV-1 that's 142 or so days, had 140 something days. That's actually the wrong mission. That's the dead mission. That's got no propulsion unit now. So it's going to carry on just sending some signals back every so often. Just check in, termed as interplanetary space, which is basically what the Explorer missions and the Ranger missions were about. And several Soviet missions in our universe were also based on just probing interplanetary space. Just to see what we can actually do. But they are destined for the Venus orbital track. So that's why I called them Venus, and not actually Venera 1 or Venera 1A or B or 2 or whatever. They're not actually for that. Alright, so that is the end of this episode. I'll keep this episode fairly short because obviously this is the test episode, see if the sound's being sorted out. That is a primary reason why I've uploaded this video. So I'd appreciate any feedback on the sound. That'd be that'll be fantastic. That'll be very, 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 very appreciated. Okay, so that's the end of this. That's the end of Luna 11. So that's Luna 11 safely in orbit. It's completed its mission. It's 2 missions actually, 2 contracts. Luna X mission contract, which is the first orbiting lunar satellite, which we've already done that before. We've got an altimeter scan satellite still there. So it's not the first time, but unfortunately that contract wasn't offered before. So obviously we're well ahead of schedule. It's only 1958, so we're well ahead. Okay, so thank you for watching this episode. I hope the sound has been sorted. As I said, I would appreciate any feedback. If it isn't sorted, I will check it myself and see if I can tweak it once I've uploaded it to YouTube. But once it's been uploaded to YouTube, it's out of my hands really, so I can't really do anything else with it. Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, please click like and share. Always welcome to share. We have Google+, we have Facebook, and we have Twitter. Very appreciate if you go onto those 3 websites, click the follow and the like as applicable. You find the links to all 3 websites on the banner on the front page. And subscribe for more. Subscribe to the channel for automatic updates for this and other playthroughs I'm going through right now. Alright, once again, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.